So a beggar had been sitting by the road, on the side of the road, for about 30 years. And one day a stranger walked by. "Spare some change?" mumbled the beggar, mechanically holding out his old baseball cap. It wasn't one of yours. "I'm sorry, I have nothing to give you," said the stranger. And then he asked, "What's that you're sitting on?" "Nothing," replied the beggar. "Just an old box. I've been sitting on it for as long as I can remember." "Ever look inside?" said the stranger. "No," said the beggar. "What's the point? There's nothing in there." "Have a look inside," insisted the stranger. The beggar managed to pry open the lid of the box, and with astonishment, disbelief, and elation, he saw that the box was filled with gold. I'm here to tell you, as the story illustrates, that we are all sitting on a gold mine. And this morning, we bring our powerful month to a close by exploring what it means as you move into the spiritual dance called AbunDANCE. What an amazing month we really had. Haven't we had a great month that we've explored ideas that have consistency and regularly walking a pathway of God's plenty and a journey of the joy of spirit and a course of conscious creation. We've had a great month. Hasn't it been great? And we've used these two books here, Mae McCarthy's A Path to Wealth, 7 Spiritual Steps for Financial Abundance, and Wallace Wattles' The Science of Getting Rich, to support us in this. And today we are to complete using these two books, because today I want to share with you some deeper understandings that need to take place in order for us to create a life of abundance. And remember, as we've said earlier this month, the concept of abundance isn't exclusive to material wealth. So let's start by defining abundance in an expanded way. First, what does that word mean to you? What is abundance? What is abundance?
A lot of.
Talk to me. What else is abundance? What's abundance?
Good relationships.
Okay.
More than enough for your needs.
Okay. Abundance.
Energy.
Abundance of energy. Abundance.
Being able to do what you want when you want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Freedom.
Freedom. Abundance of freedom. Okay. These are all correct and wonderful, but I want you to know that there's something more than what we've said, and perhaps I should say there's something that comes before anything we have said here this morning. Abundance is really a state of mind. It's a state of mind. It's a consciousness. Abundance is not just having things or experiences. It's the consciousness that attracts the things and experiences. When we learn to be, it all comes. That's that be before do, right? It's a way of living and of thinking and of being and acting in the world. You can probably think of people who seem to have all the physical things in the world they need, yet they hoard. They hoard. They hold on to it. They are in fear. They are constantly worried that they will lose what they have, and so they're trying to get more. They're trying to safeguard what they have. You know, they're focused just on the possibility of loss instead of opening up to even more. And then there are the others who live what might be considered meager lives, with not a lot, or it doesn't appear that they have a lot, but they have everything they've ever needed, and they have it when they need it, and they are secure, and they are happy. They are abundant because they have an abundance consciousness. The Bible is so rich with metaphors about consciousness. One of the 12 spies that Moses sent out to the Promised Land was Joshua. When he returned from that prosperous land, he described it as rich in every way. He brought back evidence in rich, tasty grapes. He said it was a land of milk and honey, but he alone saw that. The other 11 spoke only in negative terms. They spoke of giants and other reasons that they should not go forward. So Moses decided to wait. For the next 40 years, Moses, Joshua, and the children of Israel roamed the desert just on the border of prosperity. But Joshua kept the consciousness. When Joshua became the leader of the people, he waited no longer, but he led his people into the land, and in 3 days it was accomplished. In Hebrew, the name Joshua is identical to Jesus. Both of them are derived from the word Jehovah, meaning I am that I am. Both of them symbolize the consciousness of oneness, which of course is the consciousness of abundance. So how can we attain the consciousness of abundance? Well, let's talk about a couple of ideas. Has anyone here ever done the fire walk? Okay. Has anyone ever done it with Edwene Gaines? No, didn't do it. Okay. She has a retreat center in Minton, Alabama. I have not done it yet either. But she describes it in her book, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity. No, the 4 spiritual, I'm getting confused with May. The 4 spiritual laws of prosperity. And even if you've never done it, can't you imagine that there's just a touch of fear as you stand there looking out at the runway of white, hot coals, knowing that you're about to put your bare feet on those white, hot coals? No matter how well you've mentally and spiritually prepared for this moment, there's got to be just a little bit of resistance and fear. But Edwene tells her students to say 3 extremely important and powerful things. Were you told to do this too when you did your firewalks?
I can't remember. I was
Okay.
not all the way present. I just did it.
Oh, okay. Well, which are the same 3 extremely important and powerful things we can tell ourselves to keep us on our pathway of God's plenty, on our journey of the joy of spirit, and our course of conscious creation, and whenever things look scary. And those 3 sayings are: 1, pay attention. 2, expect the best. He used to have a license plate holder that said expect the best, and miracles happen. And 3, go for it. Take the first step. Take that first step. And then you walk. So let's use those 3 ideas as a formula for our dance of abundance consciousness. What does Edwene mean when she says pay attention? She means pay attention to 2 things. First, to the lavish abundance and support of the universe that is naturally provided. It's just naturally provided. It's already there. It's been said that an inquisitive fellow decided that he wanted to compute how much money it would take and cost to feed all of the birds in the world. And this would be cost each day. How much would it cost each day to feed all of the birds in the world? He was a scientific type and he knew math, kind of like Suzanne here. And he knew his computers, so he put in all this data and he put everything in there. And you know what the result was? You know what it came out, what the cost was? He found out that there's not enough wealth in all of the nations of all the world to feed the birds for just one day. Can't do it.
And yet they're fed.
And thank goodness the birds didn't know that, right? Thank goodness the birds didn't know that. Just stop. Just look at it and think about that just for a second. Wow. There's not enough wealth in all of the nations of the world to buy enough food to feed all the birds, but the birds do get fed, don't they? Mm-hmm. The first step in developing a deeper, richer, more holy dance with divine abundance is to pay attention to the presence and the power in this universe that has already lavishly provided you with good, with ideas, with resources, with all that you could ever really need or want. To clarify your own thinking, examine your thoughts and feelings about God as your source. I love the passage from Hebrews where it says, every house is built by someone, but the builder of all things is God, or spirit, or universal mind, whatever you want to call it. Every house is built by someone, but the builder of all things is God. So Unity founder Charles Fillmore wrote in his book, Prosperity, poverty or prosperity, it all depends on you. All that the Father has is yours, but you alone are responsible for the relationship of the Father's good to your life. Through conscious recognition of your oneness with the Father and His abundance, that's our pay attention part, you draw the living substance into visible supply. So first, pay attention to God's lavish abundance and support already provided in which you are immersed, because you are already one with it. You are one with it. The second part of paying attention is paying attention to the inner work you need to do. Where are the roadblocks in you to your greater good? What is it that Emerson says? Get your bloated nothingness out of the way. I mean, we block ourselves so much. What old, worn out beliefs are you dragging along that need to be released, dissolved, let go of? Pay attention to that and do what you need to do to release. I'm working on a photo book for my daughter who's turning 30 in a couple of weeks. And I just realized that I wanted to do this 5 days ago. And it takes 5 to 10 days for it to be printed. So I didn't have a lot of time to, gather up. And we're talking, I'm starting with her photos that were done in 1986, right? Actually 87, because I started with her first birthday. So I'm going through books and marking the books and taking out all of these photos. And I think, where am I going to get these scanned? My daughter says, go to Target. I go there. The girl goes, I don't know. I don't know how to do this. I'm thinking, okay, that's not going to work. I go to Costco. Great. Yeah, it'll cost me about $80 to do that. No, I don't think I'm going to do that. I come home, I look at my printer, which is a scanner, and I think, okay, I don't know. Can I figure this out? It took me a while, but I did it. I figured it out. I scanned 80. But all these little roadblocks that came up, and it was like, can I do this? Yeah, I can. A way will be made. I can do this. And, my old beliefs that there's not enough time. There's not enough time. That it's too difficult to learn new technology. This is something I've never done before. My biggest one, my fear of not being perfect. Or that the end product won't be perfect. Ooh, fear of failing. These are huge. These are huge beliefs that I needed to get over and let go of. So, after you pay attention, number 3, expect the best. Expect the best. Again, Charles Fillmore in Prosperity wrote, the spiritual substance from which comes all visible wealth is never depleted. Wow. The news media would have us believe differently, wouldn't they? It is right with you all the time. It is right with you all the time and responds to your faith in it and your demands on it. It is not affected by our ignorant talk of hard times, though we are affected because our thoughts and words govern our demonstration. Pour your living words of faith into the omnipresent substance, and you will be prospered through all the banks of the world, though all the banks of the world may close their doors. Wow. Think of the story where the woman who touched Jesus' garment and was healed. There were thousands and thousands of people in the crowd, but only the woman who had the faith in that substance got it. Only the one who had the faith got that. It was already established in her consciousness, and she knew that her needs would be met if she could just make that contact. She expected to be healed, and if she could touch the hem of his robe. And Fillmore says, do not say that money is scarce. The very statement will scare money away from you. Interesting. Do not say that times are hard with you. The very words will tighten your purse strings until the omnipotence itself cannot slip a dime into it. Begin now to talk plenty, think plenty, and give plenty for plenty. Enlist all the members of the home in the same work. Make it a game. It's lots of fun. And better than that, it actually works. Expect to be prospered. Expect to have all of your needs, wants, and desires taken care of. And if those things haven't occurred yet, then things aren't finished. We're not done, right? I love the idea that all things are good in the end. So if it isn't good, it isn't the end. The last thing to do before stepping out in faith, as you follow the guidance of your CSO, remember what CSO stood for?
Chief Spiritual Officer.
Chief Spiritual Officer, is to say, number 4, go for it. Take that first step. So imagine standing on the edge of a burning, white-hot, heat-emanating runway of coals. This may be what following a piece of guidance that your CSO has given you feels like. Sweaty palms, dry mouth, heart palpitating with thoughts of, what the heck am I about to do? And they may just be swirling around in your head. But here is a profound piece of wisdom. Just because we receive guidance to move in a specific direction, it doesn't mean the fear will go away. Wow. Feel the fear and do it anyway, right? But it isn't really a wall. It's more like a membrane, like a veil, like a bubble. And all you have to do is to penetrate it is to go for it and to take that first step. You may not ever have to walk on fire, but I'll bet you have walked through fire, haven't you? Haven't we all walked through fire? And you got through it by going for it and taking the first step. What was it that Don Costa in Palm Springs used to say? Tom Costa says, if you're traveling through hell, don't stop, build a condo, keep on going. Take that first step, and then the next first step, and then the next first step. And what you can know is that God is holding your hand the whole way. So, to summarize, we must develop a consciousness of abundance. This is a continual process because we get a lot of evidence out there to the contrary. But remember, what we're seeing out there is created by what we first thought in here. So if what you're seeing out there, don't let that determine what you're thinking in here. Start the process anew, and you will see what you want to see out there. We must pay attention to God's lavish abundance everywhere, as well as your inner work to be done. We must always expect the best, remembering that if it isn't the best, it isn't finished. And we must break through the membrane of fear by going for it and taking that first step. So I want to leave you today and leave our month's theme with Charles Fillmore's Prosperity Prayer, otherwise known as the 23rd Psalm revised from Prosperity. So, here we go. The Lord is my banker, my credit is good. He maketh me lie. He giveth me the key to his strong box. He giveth me the key to his strong box. He restoreth my faith in his riches. He guideth me in the paths of prosperity for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk in the very shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy silver and thy gold, they secure me. Thou preparest a way for me in the presence of the collector. Thou fillest my wallet with plenty, my measure runneth over. Surely goodness and plenty will follow me all the days of my life, and I shall do business in the name of the Lord forever.
I want that.
Amen, right? And so it is. And as we dance the dance of abundance, we will be firmly on our pathway of God's plenty, our journey of the joy of spirit, and our course of conscious creation. And so it is.
You gotta make copies.